Communicating and collaborating with families is paramount in today's education setting. As we proceed, think about how you communicate and collaborate with others, why you engage in these activities, and what strategies you currently use for effectively communicating. Consider the historical roles that were discussed in the previous module and what roles you think parents could play in your classroom. What does parent involvement in the educational setting look like? First, parents are more likely to be involved in the primary grades than in high school. Oftentimes, parents of young children are very concerned about making sure that their child's needs are met and tracking their progress in school because younger children need that support. However, as students age, they begin to gain more independence and parent involvement begins to decrease. Parents of Hispanic and African American students are often less involved. This is a multifaceted issue with some factors including language, work responsibilities, transportation, and cultural dynamics. Research suggests that the higher the education level of a parent, the more likely they are to be involved. This is not to say that parents with higher levels of education value their child's education more. It is a trend that has been noted in research. This plays in with the previous discussion. Parents with higher levels of education may have greater access to transportation, greater understanding of cultural and linguistic aspects of the dominant American culture, and may have more job flexibility that leads to increased time for involvement. Lastly, parents who do not speak English are less likely to be involved in their child's education. Language barriers make it difficult for parents to access and understand the expectations and possibilities that come with involvement. Parents and families are able to provide in-depth knowledge of their children, along with cultural, linguistic, familial, and academic issues that may need attention in the classroom. Families play a valuable role in the education setting and can influence your teaching success because they can offer support and reinforcement on academic and behavioral goals. They can provide assistance in the classroom through helping with activities, chaperoning field trips, assisting with preparation of materials, working with small groups, and so forth. Parents may also possess talents that can be of benefit to you and your students. It is important to understand that many families and parents want to be involved, however, they may not know how to become involved, especially with families from diverse backgrounds and limited English proficiency, or families living in poverty. There are a number of suggestions for inviting participation and helping parents feel welcome to join. For instance, you can start the year off by sending a letter that sets the tone for parent involvement. Express through the letter that you encourage parents to be active participants through activities that you will hold throughout the year, reinforcing learning at home, sharing their ideas and talents, and helping out when they can. Sending notes home with your students or in the mail highlighting positives that have happened in the classroom is another great way to involve families. For example, sending notes that highlight recent achievements, good behavior, good citizenship, and even funny moments. It is also important to remember that some parents will not be available during the school day to become involved. Express ways that working with parents can become involved, such as communicating good news that happens in the home, sharing ideas or thoughts they have, and supporting their child through positive reinforcement. Another way to involve families is through home-to-school contracts. These contracts can be used for a variety of purposes, including management of behavior and reinforcement. You may also do a number of activities throughout the year that you could use an extra set of hands with. Parents can be a great source of support here and are often happy to assist if they are invited or asked to volunteer. If it is feasible and your district supports it, home visits are another way to invite participation and get to know families. However, it is important to be sensitive. There may be families that do not want you to visit for a number of personal reasons. If this is the case, offer to meet at a public location, such as a coffee house or library. Furthermore, families may be busy and/or dealing with issues that make it difficult to hold a home visit. Above all, keep lines of communication open with families. This can be done through monthly newsletters or meetings, hosting family nights or parent trainings, or using communication logs or notebooks. Communication is paramount in promoting the success of your students. Despite our best efforts, it may not be enough to invite families in. Oftentimes as educators, we really need to forge that relationship and be effective collaborators. Above all, be sensitive to family backgrounds and structures, along with matters of diversity and culture. Strive to maintain positive communication. When teachers focus on the negative issues or trouble that students have, parents may begin to build a wall and become uncomfortable in the parent-teacher relationship. Make sure to communicate about areas that are relevant to the child or classroom, issues that the child may have difficulty communicating at home, and upcoming events, activities, and homework. In the event of a communication breakdown or disagreement, strive to resolve that disagreement. Educational disagreements can inhibit student growth and success. Try to partner with parent advisory groups and attempt to help parents cope with disability issues. You may feel ill-equipped to take on this role. However, sometimes being available to listen will go a long way. And again, we use a lot of technical jargon in the field of education. Be sure to explain this jargon to parents. As we watch this short clip, think about the communication taking place. Is the teacher maintaining positive communication, assisting the parent in understanding her concerns, and explaining educational jargon?
Welcome to Timmy's IEP meeting. I am the VP and will be the administrative designee for this meeting. I am Timmy's mom and I just want to get my son the help he needs. He is in the 4th grade and cannot read. You will have a chance to discuss your parental concerns later, so let's get started. We are holding this meeting at your request after trying RTI and having an SST meeting. Let's start with the assessment results for the WISC-4 IQ test. Timmy's full-scale IQ is a 102. But he had some scaled scores and standard scores that were considered low average to borderline. What are you saying? I don't get it. Let's discuss the fact that Timmy cannot read. We will get to that. I am trained and knowledgeable and these results are valid and reliable. But Timmy cannot read. The next assessment was the Woodcock-Johnson 3 achievement test. Timmy's broad reading standard score was a 78, his reading fluency standard score was a 75 and his reading comprehension standard score was a 77. Does this mean Timmy cannot read? We will get to that. Remember, I am trained and knowledgeable and these results are valid and reliable. Also, I provided the assessments in Timmy's primary language. But Timmy cannot read. The next assessment was the TVPS assessment test for visual processing. Timmy's scaled score on visual memory was a 6 and his scaled score on visual spatial was a 5. I have now finished explaining all of the assessment results in clear, easy to understand language because I am trained and knowledgeable and these results are valid and reliable. It is now your turn to tell us your parental concerns. I have been telling you my parental concerns all along. Timmy cannot read. Please explain to me what everything you said meant because I still don't understand. Oh. All right. As I have already clearly explained, Timmy cannot read. Next time I am going to visit specialeducationadvisor.com before the meeting so that I am better prepared and understand what all of this means.
Different backgrounds and have different personalities. What do you think will work for you? Take a moment to jot down some thoughts.
What are effective strategies parents can use when communicating with teachers?
As a teacher, that parent partnership is essential to your child's success. Without it, your child may grow, but they will never grow as much as they would have if they had had that consistent parental support coming along the way. It's very important that the teacher and the parent communicate daily, whether it's with an agenda or a quick email, whether the child didn't get enough sleep the night before, or to the teacher, to the parent, they struggled with a concept that needs reinforcement, or maybe they had a bad day with a peer. All of those things can be handled through a quick written note. If they're an older child or a teenager, again, having some sort of agenda or just a quick email back and forth would be appropriate in those instances. Setting up that daily communication keeps it regular, keeps it going, keeps the child informed that their teacher and their parent are talking, and it really sets the child up for success in the classroom.
What did you come up with? Did you write about the impact parent involvement can have on your student's success, or that you would love for parents to be involved in your classroom? Did you write that you would send home newsletters, ask for volunteers or classroom helpers, or create a website? There are a variety of ways that we can involve and help parents to be a part of our classroom. Now let's take a look at a teacher's perspective of parent-teacher relationships. What does the federal law have to say about parental involvement? IDEA defines parent counseling and training as assisting parents in understanding the special needs of their child, providing parents with information about child development, and helping parents to acquire the necessary skills that will allow them to support the implementation of their child's IFSP, IEP, or transition plan. This means that we are required by law to not only seek out and include parents, but to also communicate the information parents need in order to assist and understand the needs of their child, provide them with information about typical and atypical development, and help them acquire the skills they need to assist or reinforce their child in the home setting. Understanding your expectations as a teacher and thinking about what parents expect of you as a teacher is important in creating your foundation for involving parents and meeting these expectations. Take a minute to jot down a few expectations that you have for parents and also what you think parents will expect from you. One of the ways we can forge relationships with families is through communication strategies and tools. In the younger grades, and for many students with IEPs, communicating information between school and home and school is difficult. These strategies and tools assist in relaying important information in a clear and concise way and help families to stay involved. When you are finished with this lesson, we want you to create a scenario and accompanying communication tool that would relay information between the home and school settings. This communication could include general daily information about what happened in the classroom, behavioral information regarding specified behaviors that are being worked on in the classroom, upcoming activities or homework assignments, and so forth. You will need to set up a basic scenario first that explains a student the situation that needs to be communicated and how you will communicate that information. Then you will create the actual template that you will use to communicate the information. One thing to also consider is whether you want parent input or feedback. Let's take a look at a few. Please be sure to include the components discussed in the earlier slide. You will need to set up a basic scenario first that explains a student, the situation that needs to be communicated, and how you will communicate that information. Then you will create the actual template that you will use to communicate the information. Remember to think about whether you want parent input or feedback. When you are finished, remember to submit your assignment under the assignment link in ReggieNet. Remember, parents and families may be our greatest asset in promoting the academic success of our students. Educators need to help forge relationships with families, keep lines of communication open, and maintain a collaborative and inviting classroom atmosphere. It is really to our benefit to build these relationships and use our parents to help our students be as successful as possible.